Nice to be here today, and thank you for joining us on this kind of gloomy Thursday. I think there might have been a temptation to just sleep in today, but at least I have my human alarm clock that needs to be walked to school, so that was a good start in the morning. My name is Johanna Småros. I used to study here back in the day. I have taken many good naps in this classroom back in the day until I realized that lectures are not the best way for me to learn things. It's actually better for me to just read the books and do the exercises in my own time instead of coming to classrooms taking naps. But that was one lesson learned back in the day. I'm one of the 3 co-founders of Relex Solutions. I'm not actually going to talk too much about my career path because it's very simple. I kind of randomly picked Helsinki University of Technology, as it was called back in the day, before it turned into Aalto. I did not know what I wanted to do. I was, one of those straight A students. I was good at most things. I did not have a passion for anything in particular. And then actually my brother sold technology to me. He told me that, yeah, you're not that interested in technology, but here at Helsinki University of Technology, we have this industrial engineering and management. It's not very techy. It's more like economics and things like that. It's really hard to get into. And I was like, okay, that's the right place for an overachiever like me. So that's how I picked my path, very randomly. It could have been medicine, it could have been something else, but that's how I got here. Then I accidentally fell into research. I got a summer internship within a research group, and then I just kind of continued to do my master's thesis within that group and wrote a couple of scientific articles and was kind of already doing that PhD path. So then I felt, well, why not finish it? And then I started working with my 2 co-founders in the same research group. And myself and our CEO, Mikko, defended our dissertations pretty much at the same time. And we both felt that we were more keen to build new things, solve practical problems, than doing research on them. So we kind of felt that, well, why not take some of those ideas that we had been developing and see if they actually work in practice? And that's how Relex came to be. And today I'm going to speak a bit more about technology, because I do think that it's one of the key drivers that changes not only business but also societies. And it's super important that we have diverse perspectives within the development of technology, because it does drive impact at scale, and it really does matter who is deciding all these new technologies. So shortly, a few words about Relex Solutions. We're still headquartered in Finland. We are what people call a software unicorn. That basically means that our valuation is more than 1 billion. We've been able to take on a very competitive market. We didn't do something completely new and unique. We do supply chain and retail optimization. That's been done for decades. We just decided to do it better. So we've been competing with massive giant companies, especially US-based, but also, for example, SAP coming from Germany. And we've been able to have an advantage. Basically, a key driver of this has been adopting new technology faster than anyone else in the market. So we do a lot of the new and cool AI stuff like machine learning-based demand forecasting. And here in Finland, we work with companies like S Group, so the Alepas and Prismas and so on, have their flow of goods optimized by us. Or, for example, the pet stores, Musti ja Mirri. And also, for example, Saarioinen is a client of us. And then internationally, we work with retail giants like, for example, Lidl, which is massive, one of the 10 biggest retailers in the world. But what is supply chain and retail optimization? At first look, supermarkets may look like something quite low-tech, quite traditional, but have you ever thought about what it requires to keep supermarket shelves this fresh, nice-looking, and well-stocked? Let's do a bit of morning math. So, a practical example. Let's imagine a chain of stores, 1,000 stores. That's around how many Alepas there are in Finland. And then each of these stores has 10,000 items. That's the range you would find in an S-market. So you have 1,000 stores with 10,000 items each. That means that you have 10 million active goods flows that you need to manage every day. And to manage these 10 million active goods flows, you need to forecast how people will be buying these items in every store every day, usually about a year ahead, to be able to buy things, for example, overseas, and to be able to make sure that you have the right warehousing capacity and so on. So how many forecasts is that? So 365 days times 10 million. So roughly 3.5 billion forecasts that you need to constantly update. And there's some hundreds of demand influencing factors that you need to account for. So, for example, weekdays. We buy different things on a Monday and different things on a Saturday. Then you need to take into account promotions. So usually a lower price drives demand for that product, but it might also reduce demand for another similar product. So you also need to factor in cannibalization. You need to factor in the weather. So it's pretty obvious that, especially here in the colder countries, we will be selling more of these one-pack ice creams when the sun is shining. And then these factors combine. So if you have a sunny weekend, you'll sell more barbecue stuff. And the list goes on. And the weather is highly local, so you need to use that data on the nitty-gritty store item level. So it's actually a very fascinating mathematical problem, not something people can do. So we are doing things that were impossible before. And this is just one of the examples, one thing that we optimize in retail. There's a ton of other things. So, for example, smoothing out the goods flow so that we have sufficient capacity. If you think about Christmas, for example, the volumes are so massive that it's impossible to get all those goods through the whole supply chain in one go. That's why you already now start to see those Christmas chocolates and whatnots in the stores. It's not just because some people start buying early. It's also that you have kind of a hose. You can't fit more stuff in it when you reach the max. So you need to start portioning it out already months before. So there's a lot of clever optimization that you can apply across retail. And the same goes for pretty much any field nowadays. Think about healthcare. there's so much data that could be better leveraged in healthcare to make sure that we have the right capacity when we need it. Because we all know that there's a shortage of personnel in healthcare. Super important that we use that personnel at max so that we get the most results out of it. And it's also more meaningful to work in an environment where you don't go from a super busy time to actually kind of wasting time. So pretty much every business, every endeavor, also the non-business entities need to become better at leveraging the data they have and use technology to turn that into smarter decisions. The good thing is that it's not just about reducing cost or making more profit for companies. It's also a means to impact important areas such as sustainability. So one thing we help our clients do, in addition to taking out costs from the supply chain, is to improve sustainability. And that happens in multiple ways, but the easiest to understand is food waste. So by ordering as close to perfection, having exact right amount of goods available in a store, you also reduce waste. That's great for business, because waste is basically like throwing money in the garbage bin. But it's also good for sustainability. And we've calculated that on average, we save millions of kilos of food going to waste by making our clients more precise in how they portion out these goods across the supply chain. So as said, technology is really an important mechanism to have very scalable impact. So we are a company of about 1,900 people, but we manage hundreds of billions of goods flows across the world, and we can at the same time drive this sustainability impact. So this comes back to technology brings with it scale, which also means power. So we need to have diverse perspectives within the groups of people who develop these technologies, because that will determine what problems we feel are relevant enough to solve, and it will also impact how we solve them. So let's make sure that we take lots of different perspectives into account going forward. Thank you.